Good morning. Welcome to Unity Longmont Spiritual Center on the 2nd of January 2022 in this new year. Welcome, everyone. And we will begin with music from Clint Brown and Connie Shaefer. Thank you for being here this morning.
In view of all of the challenges that our community has faced, we picked a song that reminds us that we still have each other. We have this community and a source of lots of resources. So welcome.
Gather round, good people, gather round. Come in, take off your coat and settle down. Head in the clouds, feet on the ground. Gather round, good people, gather round. Gather round, all peoples gather round. Stay straight, gender fluid, gather round. Leave your judgment outside, come on down. We gather, all welcome here today. Gather round, good people, gather round. Community of spirit and of heart. Leave our worries outside, come on in. We gather in harmony today. Come on in, good people, come on in. Come in, kick off your shoes and settle in. Breathe out, breathe in. Breathe out, breathe in. Come on in, good people, come on in. There's magic to belonging in community. It can lift our weary spirits, help the soul be free. The world we're in needs courage, love, and honor now to grow. Lift your voices and your spirits, let it flow. Gather round, good people, gather round.
Come in,
Take off your coat and settle down. Head in the clouds, feet on the ground. Gather round, good people, gather round.
Thank you, Clint and Connie. It's at this time that we go into prayer together by taking a breath. Beloved presence, everywhere present, we are grateful to be together today. We are grateful to know that gratitude can be experienced simultaneously with grief. We join here today to honor the losses that people have experienced, the awakening that is going on, the transformation that we participate in. We share comfort, love, and light with each other, and with each breath we move forward. And so it is. And more music from Clint and Connie.
This is a song I wrote in 1970 about the environment, and it keeps getting more and more relevant. What will we tell our children's children? Will we say we had better things to do? Or will we say we wrote rose to the cause to save our mother. Faced the awesome task and saw it through. Times are changing all around, they're changing mighty fast. There's a whole lot in the ozone, and the fossil fuel can't last. With old growth forests stripped away, rainforests turned to dust. Precious gifts and treasures in a landfill gathering rust. What will we tell our children's children? Will we say we had better things to do? Or will we say we rose to the cause to save our mother? Faced the awesome task and saw it through. Tides are rising higher as the glaciers melt away. Greenhouse gases stifling, getting higher every day. Kids protesting in the streets, taking up the fight. Stand up and raise our voices, folks. We've got to get this right. What will we tell our children's children? Will we say we had better things to do? Or will we say we rose to the cause to save our mother? Faced the awesome task and saw it through. There's hope still in a mother's heart and a planet's courage mend. There's life still in the oceans, there's power in the wind. If you feel your heart stir for this planet Earth our own, take heart and give it all you got. I swear you're not alone. What will we tell our children's children? Will we say we had better things to do? Or will we say we rose to the cause to save our mother? Faced the awesome task and saw it through.
Thank you, Connie and Clint, and thank you for writing that song that's so poignant today. So today's topic has changed. I had planned to talk about renewal because it's a new year. And yet I think what is more relevant and important is to look at grief, collective grief. It's not an easy topic. It's certainly not an easy experience. This is from the Washington Post a couple of days ago. First, the East Troublesome Fire, the second largest wildfire in Colorado's history, blew through more than 193,000 acres in adjacent Grand County in fall 2020. Then a gunman killed 10 people at a Boulder grocery store in March. And through it all, the coronavirus pandemic, which has killed at least 10,000 Coloradans. And on Thursday, runaway grass fires bore down on the area amid 100+ mile-an-hour winds and eviscerated the homes of at least 500 families just before the dawn of 2022. That reminds us it's been a hard year. It's been a hard almost 2 years. And although sometimes our human mind would like to escape that, and we do momentarily, our spirit, our soul knows that we need to pause, we need to acknowledge and we need to honor what we have been through. In March of 2019, the pandemic began for us here, and we moved online as a community. During this time, it has been a time of grief and trauma for our planet, and we have managed to stay together. We have managed to support each other, to see each other. As a culture, we often talk about grief as something you get over, something you get through. That's a fallacy. We don't get over grief. We learn to carry it. Grief is a transformation. Prior to grief and after grief, we are a different person. So I think it's really important to acknowledge that so that we don't have some false hope. And I believe as a community, we can carry it together. So how do we carry it? We learn. Grief impacts every part of our being. It impacts our brain. We notice during times of intense grieving, our brain doesn't work like it used to. We might get very foggy. We might forget things, including our neighbor's name. We might not accomplish what we used to accomplish on a daily basis. All of these things are natural. Grief is a universal experience that is uniquely experienced by each person. It is so important at all times, especially now, to be very gentle with ourselves. When our mind, our body, our spirit seem unfamiliar, let us take a breath and welcome ourselves home. In this pandemic, we lost a lot, and it's still going on. Many of us hoped that by now we'd be through it, yet that has not come to pass. We lost an assurance of well-being. We lost a trust of how the world works. We lost having close contact with friends and family. We lost the safety of going to a grocery store and only being concerned about what we were going to buy. Many people lost their livelihood and their homes. People died. People died, and they died alone. I think it's important that we honor those people and their transition. And I pray that in some way we are energetically with them, that they need not feel alone in that process. Grief is experienced uniquely by each individual, and that is true of trauma also. How do we define trauma? Trauma is something usually unexpected a person has gone through, and they identify themselves as being traumatized. When we grieve, we may ask ourselves, what could I have done differently? What am I doing wrong or right? This is our human brain. This is our human mind. So when we catch ourselves, hand on heart, take a breath. I am right here. I am right here. Every time we lose someone or something, our brain has to go through a learning process. We have to learn how to live without that someone, without that something. And we know right now, well over 1,000 people, most likely, just down the road, are learning how to go forward without their homes. Some of them are learning how to go forward without their pets. And we're a community that loves animals. So we have a sense of their heartbreak, a sense of their feeling lost. And again, if we're not with them side by side, at least our prayers may touch them. At least our prayers may give them a little tiny bit of energy to get through the next step. And we're called to do that. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, a number of decades ago, identified 5 stages of grief. And our culture grabbed onto those because grief is desperate and we want to grab onto anything. Yet they are not accurate for grieving. She identified those phases by interviewing people who were dying. And then that model was used for grief. So I want to say, each of us may go through all of those feelings and many more. And it may be very chaotic. There may not be any kind of order to it. So one of our best practices that all of us use every day is come back to this moment. Come back to this moment in our body, our mind, our heart, our spirit. For it is in this moment that we are to live. So grief has physical effects. It has cognitive effects. It has behavioral effects, social, cultural, spiritual, and philosophical dimensions. At the beginning, it knocks us down, completely knocks us down. I don't know about you, but I experience it as waves. Everything could be kind of okay, and then whoosh, this huge tsunami wave comes through, and we're down on our hands and knees. And how we learn to carry it is after so many times of being knocked to our hands and knees and getting up again and again, we learn. Our brain and our body learn to adjust to it. And then the next wave, maybe the 101st wave, doesn't take us all the way down. So again, what we can offer ourselves and others as they're going through this up and down, all these waves, is kindness, loving kindness. Our human brain has such a tendency to judge. Oh, they're not doing it like I would do. Or have they ever considered, oh, why the hell aren't they wearing a mask? That's our human brain. It's not all we've got. We know through unity that we have our humanity and we have our divinity. And it is right now that we are so called to draw on and to live in our divinity. Emotions are intense. They're intense normally, but they're especially intense during grief and trauma. And we may try to distance ourselves from them. And yet what we are called to do is to allow ourselves to experience them. For that is how we learn. That is how we learn to carry. Grief is not something to be cured. It's not a disease or a disorder. Again, it is a natural response to loss. How can we be with others who are grieving? That's a very tricky question. One of the things we'll address in a moment is compassion. And the word comes from the Latin pati for suffering, and calm with. So when we experience compassion, it is as though, for an instant at least, we are suffering with another, and we have a desire to relieve that suffering. To relieve that suffering. So when we are with someone who is actively grieving, we want to jump in and we want to take it away. We want to relieve them of that which is theirs to do. Instead, what will be helpful is to just be with them. Recently, I did a presentation on grief with 2 other folks, and we asked the audience, who were all grieving, what is helpful and what is not helpful. I was surprised that one of the things that was least helpful to them was hearing somebody say, I am sorry for your loss. Think about that. Isn't that what we say? Because we are. Yet they said they experienced that as a distancing, your loss. So instead, they said, what's helpful is just be there. Be there in the quiet, be there in the chaos. And if you know somebody well, get up and do their dishes. They can't do that stuff well anymore. We can't do that stuff when we're grieving. If you know somebody well, you'll know what might be helpful. It's less about saying and more about doing, and especially about being. So, all this is going on, and it will go on. What is ours to do? How can we be of service? We need to recognize that there is such a massive transformation going on that we have the potential to go beyond duality of us and them, right and wrong, love and hate. And this is what we were born for. If we pause for a moment and allow that inner wisdom to surface, we know we are here at exactly the right time for each of us, and that we have something to do at this time. America is a land of individuality, you know? It's very much a me first place. That's got to change. And we're here to change that. We're here to go from me to we. And how do we do that? Well, ironically, it's by taking care of ourselves first. We need self-care. We need to be filled in order to help another. And that's how we make a we. We need to cultivate compassion. And compassion has at least 4 different steps to it. And we can learn that by looking at the life of Jesus, our master teacher. The first one is going. We can't hide away from the world. We need to go into the world, even if it's virtually right now. And we do that in order to truly see what is going on. We know that seeing the smoke, the fire, the homes, the grieving was heart-wrenching. Not easy. But we are called to do that. We are called to see. And we are called to feel. We are called to allow the energy of what is going on to come through our body and to acknowledge it and to honor it. Again, emotions are energy in motion. If we stop them up, They become solidified. They become illness. They become all kinds of things that are not useful to us or the world. And right now, we're called to be available to the world as individuals, and I believe as a community. The Gospel of Thomas, which we know was discovered later than some of the other Gospels, says very clearly, the Father's kingdom is within you and it is outside of you. So we understand that divinity is everything. Everything is divinity, including ourselves, including everything and everyone outside of us, even those we disagree with. It's all divinity. It also says, when you know yourselves, then you will be known, and you will understand that you are children of the living Father. But if you do not know yourselves, then you live in poverty, and you are the poverty. So again, knowing ourselves includes those feelings. The last piece of compassion is doing. You know, we have this big rush of emotionality, and we want to do something with that energy. Some could go to Louisville and Superior and do something. Some could call friends and say, come over here. Some could go out in the search for animals. And if we can't do those things, what can we do? We can donate. That's a doing. And we can pray and pray and pray. We can stay open to seeing what we're called for. Because it changes. It might change tomorrow. David White says, heartbreak is how we mature. There's almost no path a human being can follow that does not lead to heartbreak. So again, one of the doings is also a being, and that is allowing ourselves and our hearts to be broken. Rumi said the light comes through the cracks, right? So we allow cracks, and we allow light, and we are the light. That's the big piece. That's the big message that's coming through with all these changes. That we are light, and we are here to do work. So what's coming? Psalm 139 says, surely the darkness shall cover me, and the light around me become night. The darkness and light are both alike to you, God. So part of what we are here to do is to acknowledge and, perhaps even honor the darkness. We have seen it emerge with great turbulence over the last few years. We have seen it emerge through political divisiveness, through all kinds of divisiveness. And yet, at some level, maybe we know that the light exists with the darkness, that there's a yin and yang. And maybe we don't understand the dark. When we are conceived and we are in the womb of a mother, it is dark. Usually, when we go to bed at night and we turn out the lights and pull up the covers, it is dark. So is there perhaps some kind of comforting that can come with the dark if it is transmuted, if it is wound with the light? Let's find out. In the future, these are some predictions from Lee Harris and others. The Stark is coming forward to reveal what was already there and needs to be healed and transformed, to be changed. It is predicted that there'll be a rising of the soul, especially in the next 3 years. I think we've been talking about soul a bit more lately. And take a moment, take a breath, and just listen to this word, soul. Soul. Doesn't it resonate in some way? Do we know something about it? Aren't we here to be enveloped by it? There will be more heart energy. And I know my own language has changed recently, and I say not only heart, but sacred heart, because that is part of our divinity. There will be a greater connecting between souls on earth. This is not the time to be doing things in a solo manner, not the time to be doing it alone. This is the time to come together and think about how much more energy and purpose and mission there is when we come together, right? This is a time, not unlike maybe past times, where we may disconnect or be disconnected from some others, even beloveds, because we will be formed in groups that work together. And increasingly, we will meet someones who we already know have significance for us. And there is a coming together. In this time, Mother Earth is attempting to heal. She's working really hard to do that. Thank you, Clint, for that song and that reminder. The old will be dismantled and there will be more justice. And we have watched some of that happen. And it's messy. It's very messy. So let us remember and hold the light during the process. All power imbalance is coming forward to be seen more clearly, and that will be changed. These events that are so traumatic are clearing out a collective amnesia. In our humanity, we haven't always wanted to see. And now we are called to see, to feel, to be, to heal. Those that are sensitives or empaths are called to find their voice and to use their gifts. And as I look at the people in this room, guess who's here? Sensitives and empaths. We need to know what we want. And if we don't know now, we need to figure it out, because that is part of our guidance. That is how we will know where to go and what to do. We need to cultivate resilience. And if we, with big-heartedness, look on the past, that's part of what we have been doing during this time. We have been cultivating resilience. It is said, now listen carefully to this, that those of us who have been doing this work, even quietly, since the 80s, will experience a quantum leap in consciousness. Oh boy, let's go for it. And we will find deep and personal healing. We will do our soul work. So, grief, the awakener, the transformer. And we'll shift gears here for a piece of music, please.
Even when we're apart, I offer my love as we journey together through the light of our caring. May we become whole. May the vision we share bring hope and bring healing. Let the joy and the caring be for all time. May the light of your love shine forever in spirit for all who are near it. I open my heart. I open my heart. May it always be with you, nurture and sustain you, even when we're apart. I offer my love as we journey together through the light of our caring. May we become whole. The vision is clear through the truth of compassion. Every instant is healing. All pain is transformed. Your purity shines outside the illusion, beyond all confusion. As you open your heart, I open my heart. May it always be with you, nurture and sustain you, even when we're apart. I offer my love as we journey together through the light of our caring. May we become whole.
Thank you, Connie and Clint, for that perfection. And so now I invite you to open your heart, to open your mind, to open your intuition, and take your pen and your paper. And for a moment, begin to write down what you are ready to let go of. We would normally be doing a burning bowl ceremony at this time of year. So this will be a bit of a substitute for that. Just don't make any judgments, just let it flow. And know we'll be doing this just for a few minutes. And Clint is going to provide us with some music during this period of time. Thank you, Clint. So your list may not be complete. However, ritual is so important to us. So I invite you to take this list of what you're willing to let go of and pull it apart. And since I'm the one that vacuums in this house, I'm tossing it. Take a breath and notice how you feel. There you go, Connie. And so I invite you now to take another piece of paper and write down what you invite into your life, into your being, what you are willing to cultivate. And again, Clint will provide us with more beautiful music. Thank you, Clint. So again, this list may not be complete. It may continue to evolve over time. And I invite you, don't tear this one up, but keep it. Keep it somewhere that's safe and sacred and be reminded of it. So at this time, we're going to go into our donation of love and light. And we do that again by taking a breath and placing our hands on our heart. And we become increasingly aware of the love and light within us. And we allow that love and light to expand. And we know that it expands as needed and that it is shared with whomever needs it. And today we also focus on those so close to us who have lost their homes and more through the Marshall Fire. We know we are able to do this at any time. We simply take a breath and make a choice. And so it is. And more music, please.
comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Speak through me, speak through me, speak through me, oh my soul. Speak through me, speak through me, speak through me, oh my soul. Move through me, move through me, move through me, oh my soul. Move through me, move through me, move through me, oh my soul. Comfort me,
We ask Spirit to bring comfort now to all people impacted by the Boulder County wildfires.
oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul.
Thank you for that song and the comfort. One of the things that brought me such comfort was immediately when we went into shutdown, Governor Polis held weekly and then bi-weekly calls for spiritual leaders. And the woman who organized that and said prayers to begin us and end us was Reverend Amanda Henderson. And she was with Interfaith Alliance. So she's written a poem recently that I'd like to share. Deliver us. Deliver us from hate and division, violence and suffering. It has been a long, hard time working on the front lines to keep our communities fed, risking our health and the health of our families, and now feeling the lingering fear that binds us to pain and trauma. Deliver us. Open us. Open us and let us share the vulnerability that we can no longer hide. In our suffering, we are softened. Our hearts and minds are open. Ways of the past no longer serve us. Open our imaginations so we might be receptive to each other, so we might hear each other and see each other. Open us. Fill us. Fill us with resilience and strength, empty after this period of struggle, worn out and drained. Fill us back up with the energy of spring sunshine, mountains, and fresh grass. Fill us with the sounds of laughter and the flavors of good food. Fill us. Teach us. Teach us new ways in these always changing days. Give us patience and an open mind to learn what we need to learn to thrive regardless. Teach us to meet each other where we are with kindness and compassion, curiosity and innovation. Teach us. Keep us. Keep us connected to one another. With all that divides, bind us together. If we have learned nothing during this time, we have learned that we are all connected. What impacts one impacts all. Keep us. Send us. Send us to do the work of common good. Let us serve one another with generosity and determination. We are here, ready to be the hands and feet of justice and healing. Send us. Bring us. Bring us always closer to the source of life and connection. When times are tough, remind us that we are not alone. When we feel at our end, call us back to our communities who hold us up and get us through. Bring us. And we'll finish with music from Clint and Connie. I believe you're muted, Clint. The phrase of the pandemic.
There's a healing power in the music shared between us. There's beauty in the love our hearts can know. I count you as a blessing, pure and joyful. I carry your love with me as I go. There's a vision unfolding before us. I can see it ever clearer, hear it call. As we open our hearts to the music and let it flow through us to all. There's a healing power in the music shared between us. There's beauty in the love our hearts can know. I count you as a blessing, pure and joyful. I'll carry your love with me as I go. Please carry my love with you as you go.